Hello again. This is a Fidelity Rad 23, as you can see. Fidelity were quite a big sort of seller of radios in Britain in the 1970s, and I think their products were quite generally regarded as quite good. Now this one has an interesting aspect to it, this video that is, because through a bit of mistaken work on eBay, I appear to have acquired two Fidelity Rad 23s, which is one more than I was really expecting to need or want. Perhaps we better all agree not to tell Mrs. Radios about that particular mistake. Anyway, they are both in need of a bit of attention, as you can see. This one looks more beaten up than the other one does, and it's lost the nameplate off the front. And that's not going to be easy. Well, it's not going to be possible to replace that, so I don't know how we can go and decorate that a bit better. Also, this one has lost the telescopic aerial, or it's got the telescopic aerial, it seems to be broken off at some point, so that's also going to be a challenge. So what I'm not sure about with this is whether or not, well, I don't know whether either of them work. I don't know whether we should try to make two decent radios out of this, which will be good, or maybe the fact that we've got two allows us to make one good one out of the two of them. It's a pretty straightforward radio conceptually. Long wave, medium wave, VHF, normal stuff, the usual controls. They both have a rather odd tuning action, which gets really stiff as it gets to the top end of the scale here. And they both do that, so that seems like it's possibly a design flaw. They require 9-volt PP9 battery, so I think we'll start with the nice, well, the less dirty one, and we'll put one in there and see what we get. So let's see what we get from this one. Rather dodgy volume control by the looks of things. Well, there is some noise, at least on medium wave. Do we get any signals? That's at full volume, and I can hear Radio 5 Live there. Oh, so that volume control looks a bit iffy, doesn't it? So I think we need to have a look at that first, actually. It looks as if other things might work, and so the next thing is try and work out how to get it apart. I can't actually see anything. I do have the manual, so I'm guessing, because I can't see anything else, that we'll take the handle off in order to do that. So the answer is, once you've taken the handle out, or once you've slacken the handle off, this cover here removes fairly easily, and we can see inside it. Actually, this doesn't look too bad. If I to do that volume control there, oh, it's soldered in. That's going to be a bit of a pain. So it's sort of soldered into the board. It's not necessarily an issue, because we can always put one that isn't soldered and then just put jump wires into the board, I suppose. We need to get it a bit further apart, I think, for that. Looks fairly standard constructions. Germanium output stage here. Looks pretty decent, actually, in general terms. So what should we do about this? I mean, what we could just try doing is cleaning it and seeing if that helps, because maybe just cleaning it up will make it work. Not hopeful, but we'll give it a try. It's improved it a little bit.
I took him down to Monterey, the Cyborg scanner.
with that in place, does it? How does it go on the other bands? So that's long wave. Let's try medium wave.
They do. They need. There's no point otherwise walking into the classroom and finding that their teacher can't support them, because education is absolutely.
No, sounds pretty good. Let's try it on FM. Still a bit noisy there at the end. Let's try FM.
Hours to check my facts, and I've got officers today. I stand by what I said to you yesterday in that it's factually correct. But to elaborate further, or to make it clear, Mr. Mahani is spending some money, or was going to spend some money that is not the same as the money the council would spend.
Yeah, I still don't really like that. But it may be that, you know, it might be a bit of a fiddle to try and get a different one in. But let's move on to the other radio, because this one appears to be basically okay, apart from needing a clean-up now, and maybe changing that switch. I can't see anything else wrong with it, so that's good news. I'm just going to whip the battery out again and try the other one. I do have to turn it around a bit in order to get stations. Well, that one sounds much better. See if we are on. I'm not on anything at the moment. Let's try long wave then. It's that very horrible noise that tuning makes. I'm not really getting any signal there in the long wave. I hear something, but it's not picking up very much. Let's try medium wave.
With injury, he withdrew just a few moments ago. He had withdrawn from the recent match play.
Medium wave is okay then. Let's try FM.
We are just to clarify some of those points, to answer some of the criticisms, live on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, the leader of Peterborough City Council. Just gone 4:30. Let's check the news headlines. Here's Kate.
So that seems okay in terms of it's just a long wave that we don't seem to be able to get anything on. Now, what that could be, in many things, I suppose. My guess is possibly open circuit aerial coil, which will be a bit of a pain. But nevertheless, I think at least we can get one decent radio out of this. How much we can. The interesting thing I find is that the deterioration in the surface here is exactly in the same way on both radios. Like these little white marks that have come up on it. And if you look at the other radio, it seems to have deteriorated in exactly the same way, but not quite as much. So when you look here, you can see these little white marks on it the same way. This one's obviously had it a lot worse. So it's interesting that they both decay in the same manner. As I said, I'm still a bit unsure about this. I'm going to see if I can get this out, or maybe I can get that out of the other one. I don't know. Do we try and get this one right, given that the other one looks a bit of a mess, and just use the other one as a donor? Always a difficult one to call. So I think I'm going to go for the donor approach, at least the first one. I'm going to try taking that out and putting in there. And then what I'll try doing on the other one is putting in because this one's a better one, I think, overall. So if I can get an original part in there, that would look better. And then I can see if I can get an alternative part in the other one. and also have a look and see what's happened to the long wave. So the next trick we have to do is to get a bit more dismantlage. Well, I wouldn't exactly say this has gone smoothly. I thought, well, the basic problem is, I mean, I've now replaced this pot, or I've taken the pot out of the rougher one, and put it in here. And the only way to get that out, really, is to take off the tuning mechanism, which is a real pain. But I thought, well, it's all right, I've done that. I didn't need to break the cable. I'm going to use the existing cord, put it all in, start putting it back together, realised I'd forgotten to put the pointer back, so that wasn't particularly auspicious thing to do. And then, of course, what I now find is that my excitement at having put the thing together is tempered by the fact that it's backwards. So it's not running the right way round. Look, if I turn this here, I don't expect to go that way, it comes this way. So I've actually wound it backwards. So now we've got to do that again. Right, so it's all back together now. I corrected my error with winding the tuning string in the wrong direction so that it now does operate correctly. I feel somehow it is a bit smoother now as well. And we're not getting that squeaky thing at one end. So I'm going to say that I've improved things there. And I've given it all a bit of a clean up as well while it was apart, which makes it look a bit better. I did have a bit of a scare putting it back together, because when I got it all back together and I thought it was working, then I found FM didn't work. So I thought, well, what have I done there? And I poked around this bit of the board here, around this transistor, and it sort of started being intermittently working again. My initial thought was it was the fact that these transistors, what they call the lock fit transistors, which were the fashion at the time, had very bad reliability for connectors coming off inside the transistor body, and I thought I was going to have to replace the transistor, but no, it turned out it was just that this connection onto the tuning capacitor was a bit rough, so resoldering that has fixed it. So overall, I think this one is a success. The other one does need a bit more work, and in the interest of timing for this video, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not sure how much work it's worth doing on it, to be honest, but it would be nice to get another working radio out of it, and I don't think it's impossible, but I've got other things to look at the moment, so we'll put that one on the back burner.
I'm still very much looking forward to the Proclaimers coming back to the Cambridge Folk Festival one summer, because all I have to do is open my windows and I get a free concert. Hey, welcome to the show. This is the sound of your Saturday morning.
So what do we have to say about the Rad 23 in the end then? I think it's, I'm going to say it's a typically British radio in a way. And I hesitate to say that because I'm not one who subscribes to the idea that British stuff is badly made or designed compared to German or Japanese kit, because I've seen examples where that's not the case. It's just that this tends to conform to the stereotype of the British radio or the British technology of, I mean, it looks good to me, it sounds pretty good, it's ergonomically good, but the only problem is that there's a few design errors which, make it difficult to work on for a start, and that always annoys me when design engineers don't think about how the maintenance engineer has to work on it. They assume that nothing will ever be taken apart again, which was a stupid assumption for the 1970s when semiconductors and even passive components are not as reliable as they are nowadays. Also, you see these weird things like with the materials side there, this sort of, I think what they've got here is some sort of lacquer that somehow deteriorates. As far as I can tell, there's like a sort of layer over the aluminium and that plastic bit is what's gone. I might have a look at the other one and see if I can sand it back down a bit and improve that. If that works, I could try that on here. But although I don't know how I get the legends back, I'm having a think about that. Overall, I don't think it's a bad set. I think it will make a good addition to any collection. It's, obviously showing its age, and it's difficult to get it back into original condition. But overall, I think the so-called mistake of buying two of them helped me out in terms of being able to get one of them into reasonable order.